Hi, this is Kimberly. This is a synopsis and a critique of Chapter 27 of the book Letters from Christopher, Tragic Confessions of the Watts Family Murders. This book is by Cheryln Cadle, and the chapter is titled Christopher's True and Final Confession and His Testimony. Okay, so let's just start with the title of the chapter, True and Final. True and final? So how do we know this is a factual and accurate account, Chris Watts? You, Chris Watts, by your own admission, are a damn liar pants. You have given us a total of 5 versions of the truth. This is Chris's truth. August 13th, 2018, Chris said, Shanann and the girls went to a friend's house. August 15th, 2018, before the arrest, Chris said, Shanann killed the girls, so I did the same thing to her. November 6, 2018, guilty plea. Chris said, I did all of the murders, so I'm pleading guilty and I don't want to talk about it. February 18th, 2019, Wisconsin interview. I killed Shanann after we were intimate. The 4 of us rode in my work truck to Survey 319, and that's where I ended the lives of my daughters. But this one is the true truth. April 23rd, 2019, Chris's pen pal Scribble is writing a book. A bond quickly formed and now they go by Chris Sybil, joining their names together. After Shanann passed, the girls woke back up. We all rode in my company truck to my work site and I did the unspeakable. And final. I don't know if you should go so bold as to say final. I understand you have amnesia due to the trauma you endured. Perhaps a trip to the next door infirmary is in order, as you appear to be, to use your word, Chris, the epitome of PTSD, passive, trembling, stupid dumbass. So that was just my dealing with the title. Once I read the first paragraph, I realized Nimrod actually considered taking my advice. He actually tossed around in that peanut head an exorcism. Yeah, he thought about asking for a Catholic priest, but there was no need because the demon exorcised itself right there in his jail cell. Of course, there were no witnesses to this. But before I get to that part, the first sentence was, quote, he felt so alone, end quote. Of course he's alone. He did that shit to himself. He questioned himself why he would do such a thing. Scribble says, quote, what was in him that he could allow this to take his life from him by taking their lives, end quote. He knew had there been any doubt it was a dark spirit he was dealing with. He for sure found out on August 15th that it had to be something dark because he came face to face with it, end quote. I'm sure something dark did come to confront you. You had just lied on Shanann. Well, Chris had never believed in anything like that before, so he was certain that no one else would believe him either. Well, you have just spent the last 12 hours or so talking out of your ass and making intentional false statements. Who the fuck is gonna believe your crazy ass? Quote, the night the dark spirit left him, he believed there were 2 of them, end quote. Is it just me, or does this not make sense? I don't even want to explain how it doesn't make sense, because it doesn't warrant that much attention. But on the night the dark spirit left him, he had a confrontation with them, the dark spirit, but 2 of them. Reputedly, they materialized and took on the form of his maternal grandparents. My mind immediately goes to picturing a hologram. So, spirits are non-physical, so how do we know they are dark? Oh yes, they came into being as Graham and Gramps. I mean Cindy Watts' parents. His maternal grandparents. They were dark, shadowy figures with blood crimson eyes. So Chris was all like, what up? But he kinda needed to square up to them because this wasn't a social call. This will be explored more in depth later as we get to the letters. Yes, we are going to get to the letters finally. But Scribble says, quote, some things in this book may seem repetitive because of the order in which Christopher told during the research, end quote. Well, as a book writer, you put that shit in order, over and over and over, until it flows well and you are enraged and infuriated and fucking tired of looking at it. Scribble says, quote, "Following are the main letters he wrote. I did not post all of the letters, but some of the main letters," end quote. This is horseshit, Scribbles. We want all the damn letters. The name of the book is Letters from Christopher, not I Copied Discovery, damn it. If you needed page filler, this is where you could have used the fucking page filler. Don't decide for us what are the highest in importance letters. Good God Almighty, Glenda, you wouldn't know noteworthy if it bit you on the ass. Quote, "There are things in the letters that can shock people," end quote. Yes, please. That's what we're here for. Bring it on, Lois Lane. Scribble says this book, quote, "is his way of putting all the missing pieces of the puzzle together," end quote. My response to that is we can only put a half-assed puzzle together because you held back on some of the flippin' pieces. For God's sake, this is an intricate puzzle, missing several complex pieces, and no picture on the blasted box. This is a disastrously mishandled undertaking. Oh, never mind, let's call it what it is. This is a clusterfuck. Fiddle-dee-dee, look at me. I'm griping and bitching again. And I know it's not ladylike to be so condemnatory, but I like it. It's fun for me. I find it amusing. But if you were put off by it, then you know what? Fuck off. But CW says there's nothing left to tell after this. Does this mean no more books or interviews? Ever? We have to get word to him that not all of the letters he wrote to her were shared. So yes, there is more to tell. I wonder if he has read the book. If so, is he satisfied with the end result? She really needed to hire someone to give guidance on writing this book. I'm fairly confident this was a one-shot opportunity, and I feel like she blew it big time. He wants forgiveness for what he's done, and he knows it's a tall order, but it's all he can ask for. So I imagine we are getting to that part of the book that Scribble promised to CW. It was something along the lines of Crucible were united or in agreement that Chris and shit would have a chapter to blather on about. I mean, give his testimony of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Before I begin, if any of you feel moved in such a way, please, you are welcome to join hands among yourselves and bow your heads. I am all about protocol and etiquette and shit. The first letter is to the Rusicks. He didn't mail this to them, but instead is using the book as a platform. I disapprove. This should have been sent privately, maybe to their lawyer, if he was worried about stepping on toes. Quote, "These letters contain the things that Christopher did not share with the FBI or even his family. This is the platform in which Christopher was the most comfortable to tell all, the only way he would tell all." End quote. Is it just me, or should Cadle have gone to the FBI or CBI? Since he had new information to share on this case, I'm pretty sure this would have been the flippin' proper thing to do. Scribble then gives us an oxymoronic disclaimer about how the letters may contain grammatical errors and typos. Oh dear me. But he writes an open letter to Mr. and Mrs. Rusick and Frankie Jr., stating he is sure they hate him and he would be surprised if they didn't. Quote, "This is a moment in my life that I will never be able to undo, and it rips me apart every single day." End quote. Moment. A moment is an indefinitely short period of time. This is more than a moment, you dipshit. For weeks on end he was carrying on a raunchy affair, made plans and executed the poisoning of his pregnant wife with the intention of having her miscarry. The hours of carrying out the murders and disposing of their bodies, the days of outrageous lies, every single time he opened that repulsive mouth. Not a moment, dude. Again, I feel like he's trying to distance himself. It was a moment. I wasn't myself. I was taken over by dark forces. If I hadn't met Nikki, if Shanann hadn't gone to North Carolina for 6 weeks. Oops, I got away from the letter. But Nimrod tells the Rusicks, spelled incorrectly, that he still considers them as in-laws. He asks that they can find forgiveness for him one day, and ask if they have compassion for his family and consider reconciling and maintaining a relationship with them. He prays they forgive and heal, talk and share, and visit the grave sites together. I'm certain they will give serious consideration to your suggestions. Then a letter to Cheryln on April 4th, 2019. Even though Chris is still on protective confinement, he is in a cell for 23 hours per day, but he's fine with it because God is in there with him. God has opened his eyes to some things Chris and shit has been holding in his heart and not acknowledging to himself. He has a heart. Has this been proven? Chris and shit. This is Chris and chicken shit formed into a new word. If we all start using it together, I'm convinced it will be placed in the dictionary by 2021. Chris and shit says he has never had a psychological exam. He says if it had been done during his case, as he calls it, that it could have been subpoenaed by the court or DA. Apparently, Scribble suggested Asperger's symptoms to him, and he says it makes a lot of sense. Does he even have cognitive and emotional functioning? He just comes across to me as vacant, uninhabited, desolate. Anyone that wants to get in there and scrounge around, well, good luck and Godspeed. Chris and shit wants to know if his diet is really that exciting, as apparently something was in the media about it. I've not heard about that. Something about what he eats in a day. Last chapter, Chris and shit mentioned the handbook that he received. I found it online and I'll link it in the description of the video. It's quite a riveting read. He brings up the house sale, saying it has been pushed back not because of an ongoing investigation, but because the sale price will barely bring what is owed. He mentioned that he will be able to get a TV and a radio soon. Oh, wasn't that nice? I'd hate for him to be bored. She apparently asked about CDs, and he said those are not allowed because they can be broken with sharp edges and used as a weapon. For that reason, they are classified as contraband, and that Scribble has been added to the visitors list, and he was eager to meet her. And I am just going to read this part. I'm sure it will make more sense to those of you that are not a heathen like me. Chris and shit said to Scribbles in the letter, quote, I like your question, what does it mean to die out to Christ daily? To me it means to look at his character and model yourself as he was when he walked the earth, end quote. And then Chris and shit went on to quote inspiring scripture, and I don't mean to be rude, but that's when my mind tends to start wandering. But Chris and shit hopes we can all look at our own lives and receive the Lord into our hearts. He says, quote, I believe if roles were reversed and I had read a book about this happening to someone, I would have come to the Lord. It would have hit home and shown me what was important in life, end quote. Confound it, Chris and shit. Because I recollect that your wife sent you a book to read. You didn't even crack it open. The investigators found it in the trash. Officer Wally said, quote, I collected a hardback book within its original Amazon shipping box that was entitled Hold Me Tight. Appearing to be brand new, I was informed that it had been located in the recycle bin, end quote. Under what circumstances would you have been inclined to read such a book? Oh, I know. Being placed in an empty room with nothing else but the book, like when you were placed in the jail cell with the Bible. Perhaps Shanann should have confined you to Dieter's dog crate with the book, but that would have been controlling and bossy of her. But what other way to get you to read a fucking book that potentially could have unsnarled your snake in the grass self out? Another letter to Scribble, not dated. Dates would have been nice. He tells about when he was booked into Weld County Jail. He was placed in the suicide watch pod wearing a turtle suit and laid down on his bunk in the darkness. What happened about the paper gown and laying on the floor on a thin pad as described in chapter 26? So what the hell is this horse shit? This is why it takes me so long to get the next video out, because this gibberish is a befuddled mess, and I constantly have to cross-reference the contradictory nonsense. I keep thinking I fucked up somewhere and misinterpreted some shit, and told y'all the wrong bloody bits and bobs in earlier videos, and then I'm dreading making a retraction statement and all of that. But no, I didn't fuck up. Like Shanann said, I am strong, I am smart, I am confident, and damn it, I am right too. And one of them is lying, but I can't tell which one because this book is poorly written. There, I've said it. I know I've been hiding my true feelings, and I have been trying to be all gracious and elegant and shit, but I just can't with this book. Chris and Shit lay down on his bunk in the darkness, with just a tiny light in the distance for the guards, and wondered if this was his new normal. Soon he started seeing the dark male and female figures that seemed to be his grandparents, but they are the dark spirits that had been referenced earlier in the book. They are wearing vintage clothing, and he identified them as his grandparents from his mother's side. He says he recognized that they were a demon that came from inside him. Their eyes were blood red. I don't get how a demon inside of you is your grandparents. What is the relevance of that? And isn't it kind of insulting? Maybe they came to whip the tar out of him. He most definitely needed a violent and prolonged physical attack, of which only a grandparent can give. Grandma used to make us go pick a switch from the tree. If it was a little wimpy one that we brought back, she would go get one herself, the length of which could rival a tree branch. But it was long and thin, and she could get that wild swinging action going on. And when everyone saw the red telltale welts on your legs, they knew you'd been up to no good. That's back when anyone could hit kids. You could be at a friend's house, and if their parents were in a bad mood, everyone over that day would get a beating. And then don't tell your parents about it, because then you would get another one right there at the kitchen table during dinner, or in the front yard so all of your friends would see. That's when kids would actually spend all day outside. In fact, we were told to not come home except to eat dinner, take a bath, and go to bed. I think it was the law back then. But you must understand, Chris Watts grew up when they stopped doing all of that. Kids were pampered, reasoned with, and allowed to freely express themselves. That's bullshit. No wonder he's a candy-ass wuss chicken shit. Anyway, the visit from his grandparents freaked him out. After a week, he was moved to the hole, where other inmates screamed mean shit to him and hurt his feelings. Things such as, "I'm gonna rip your face off," or "kill yourself," to "I'm gonna F your wife in the afterlife." Chris and Shit said, "All of these comments felt like daggers hitting my heart." Well, given what you had done, I would say those remarks were in character with being in the hole and being with like-minded people. He came to the conclusion that this must be what hell is like. Well, Chris and Shit, any new situation is strange or unusual in the beginning, but you'll get used to evil and punitive suffering and the eternal punishment of your own personal hell. During this time is when he started reading the Bible. He didn't think God could forgive what he had done, but he was looking for a way to hang in there as he listened to the ways described to him in painful detail of which he should kill himself, or to just let one of the persons who comprised his new social group do it for him. He finished the Bible in about 2 weeks. It was hard to concentrate at times due to the noise and some of the mean letters he got. Some of the letters were encouraging and gave him Bible verses that he should commit to memory. Hey, I have a couple for you, Chris and Shit. Quote, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Or, "He who loves his wife loves himself." His attorney team visited him about 3 to 4 times a week. He claims they were his only human contact and treated him with compassion. He says they flew in his mom, dad, and sister on November 5th, the day before he pled guilty. He got to spend 30 minutes with each of them individually. Chris and Shit says, quote, "How does a person look their mother in the eyes who is hurting more than can be imagined and tell them that you are guilty of killing their precious granddaughters, but offer no explanation as to the reasons why," end quote. After meeting with his family, he was moved to another pod called Close Watch. He says, quote, "This was a dry cell and padded and kind of felt like a shoebox as it was 5.5 foot wide," end quote. Aww. Well, chicken shit, this is where they send sneaky people who appeared to be harmless and friendly in everyday life, when in fact they were treacherous. But this is where people like you are sent to think about what they have done. So sit there and think about what you have done. This place he was in, it was just him and a deputy. Some of the deputies talked to him and others ignored him. One even asked to pray for him. After their prayer session, Chris took over and read Psalm 33:13 through 22. He wanted to read it at his sentencing, but thought it was probably better if he didn't. Christenship relates every pod he was in to a stage in his life, but God has taken absolute control of him and is keeping him on the straight path that leads to life everlasting. Chris says his mother asked him if Scribble could use the letters he wrote to his children and Shanann back in December. HLN wanted to use them in their documentary, but Christenship believes God didn't want that but wanted Scribble's book to be the platform instead. What a wise and informed choice Chris Sybil made collectively. I believe fate determined by a supernatural power brought these two together. Then he says that Scribble asked for some details into his life with Shanann and the girls, and he gives a detailed account of how life revolved around Bella and Cece and lists an entire typical day from A to Z, starting from school pickup in the afternoon to the ride home, dinner, shower, before bed routines, etc. He said they worked as a team and pretty much forgot about focusing on one another because of that. He describes one of his favorite memories was of, obviously, the wedding. I'll never forget her walking down the aisle looking flawless and seeing her look into my eyes when she walked up to me saying, "Breathe." She literally took my breath away. That love never died, yet the focus of that love went toward the kids. End quote. She took your breath away. What a wretched and cruel and ironic thing to say, you dumbass pinhead. I have to stop with this letter and say this. Is he now blaming the kids for what happened? I guess it's their turn. He's blamed both Shanann and Nikki. When will he ever blame himself? Never? Oh yes, I forgot. Dark and evil forces and spirits too. I nearly forgot about them. On with the letter. Quote, I can say with a certainty that I always loved Shanann and always will, but there was always that lingering fear that I would do something wrong, end quote. He does say he never communicated that to her and compares himself to the frog that allows itself to get boiled in a pot of water because the warming water goes unnoticed. From what I am understanding, he is saying the torment of his personality trait of being nervous and submissive and walking on eggshells around Shanann seems to be at the root of what happened to him, as has been said several times in this book. Quote, there was uneasiness and careful, fearful planning with every step I took. That is not what love should feel like, but I never communicated that to her. When I was with Bella and Celeste, being a dad, there was no fear, just overwhelming love, end quote. So what happened to this overwhelming love? Quote, I didn't see what was happening until it was too late, and that mistake cost me the chance to grow old with my family for the rest of my physical life, end quote. For crying out loud, this letter needed to have been followed up on with 1,001 more questions, Scribble, and then another updated letter to Scribbles from Christenship. He thanks her for sending 2 songs. He says she asked him if there was anything about Nikki that he had not told her previously. He said she had a small group of friends that she didn't tell him about until the very end. She had been in an abusive relationship a few years earlier, after which she removed most of her social media. CW says she took some medications, but he is not sure for what. Then he tells the whole story of July 4th, going home because Shanann kept calling him that morning, and he had spent the previous night with Nikki. That she, Nikki, came to the house twice, once on July 4th and then again July 14th. So this letter comprises pretty much word for word what I've called the Dieter chapter. Go back to video featuring chapter 6, part 7, the mistress for that. Christenship says, quote, obviously, Nikki was insisting that I make more time with her no matter what, end quote. He then says on the first night in North Carolina, he gave Shanann 80 milligrams of oxycodone because he thought it would cause a miscarriage, as that's what he learned from the internet. He said Nikki, quote, didn't want me to spend time with my family or try to make things better with Shanann because she had nothing at all good to say about my family life, end quote. He said it twisted his head and he felt like a programmed robot. Oh, so now we're back to it being Nikki's fault. He said any hope of repairing his marriage was over when she gave him a key to her place when he returned from North Carolina. He declares he, quote, thinks this is the day he realized he had to do something. By do something, I assume he means annihilate his family. He claims that when they went on their Saturday night, August 11th date, that they talked about future plans and that once he had his own apartment, they could slow down the relationship and treat it as a quote-unquote normal relationship. What the hell does that mean? And why would you slow it down when you're finally legitimately free to see someone? He said he could tell she was making plans for the future, but he didn't know why because he had a beautiful wife and kids at home. Oh, brother, are you serious? Then he says the only thing Nikki had to offer him that he wasn't already getting at home was that he could be himself, but said it is not a reason to get rid of his family. He said, quote, Shanann did not do anything for me to get rid of her, end quote. Of course she didn't, but you intermittently lay the blame on everyone around you but yourself, all the while claiming you now accept responsibility. I call bullshit. No, Kristen Shedd is just talking in circles here and contradicting himself. Quote, I never saw my marriage as a struggle until I met Nikki, end quote. He says he and Shanann had communication issues, that he would shut down and not participate in arguments. Shanann worried a lot about money. Quote, I guess you could say in the end we were more involved in a routine than a successful relationship because our days were so choreographed. I'm so glad the Lord delivered me from whatever evil was tormenting me and my family. I just wish they were still here, end quote. How self-serving can one be, Kristen Shedd? So glad to hear that you've been liberated. You are a lying, cheating, asshat, wanker, chicken shit, imbecile, fuck-face coward, pansy-ass, contemptible piece of filthy excrement. About the canine dogs barking in the basement. Kristen Shedd says he went to get some trash bags. He said, quote, I know dogs can see and feel things humans can't. Maybe they felt the evil spirits that are in the house, end quote. I thought the evil spirits were inside you, Kristen Shedd. So do they come with the house when it is finally sold? That really needs to be disclosed to potential buyers. And are they only in the basement? Chris says he spends much of his day reading and praying. Scribbles told us earlier that dinner is at 3:30 in a previous chapter. Chris says, quote, dinner is at 4 p.m. and then recreation is at 4:30 p.m. 5 days a week. Another standing count is at 5:30 p.m. with day room time from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Dayroom time is when we can all use the phone, watch TV, play cards or other games, and talk to each other, end quote. Chris prays for everyone he has met in prison because they may not have anyone praying for them on the outside. He also prays for everyone that writes to him, even the bad letters. Quote, I also thank the Lord for all his blessings and for moving me to a safe place and for everything he is doing in my life, end quote. It would appear that everything is happening in a satisfactory way without any problems. I don't know about y'all, but that certainly brings comfort to me. He denies any CPS claims and said he's not in the loop of any court date. I'm not clear if he is talking about the HOA dues as far as a court date. Quote, there are so many things that don't make sense that people are grasping at that have no precedence in my eyes. But I have been very shielded from the logistics of my marriage, end quote. Who on earth is writing these letters for him? He has, really, man, expanded his vocabulary from, throwing in several times in every sentence. Are we sure this is him? He calls Nicole Atkinson a concerned friend. He does not mention her by name, but it is obvious because she is mentioned as calling the police and news stations. So maybe Scribble took it out. These are just typed versions of the letters written to Scribble from Chris and Shit. No pictures or scans of them. But Chris and Shit says, quote, I want to tell her I'm sorry for what I put you through, and thank you for being a faithful friend to Shanann, end quote. He says, quote, the YouTube presence I know nothing about, end quote. I don't know what this is in reference to. If Cheryln had included her own blasted letters, some of this shit would make more sense. He calls October 1st, 2018, Forgiveness Night. He was in a room with a table, a TV, and a phone, sitting at the table and reading a book when the news came on around 9:30 p.m. This is when he heard his name on the television. He saw himself sitting in a courtroom in an orange jumpsuit and a picture of his family on the screen. Lockdown was a half an hour later, and he went into his cell and laid on his bunk in the dark. He started having memories flood his brain, happy memories of being a family. He laid in the dark and cried and asked God to take his pain away and to forgive him. He claims he felt a hand touch the top of his head and he couldn't stop crying. He looked to the corner of the cell and saw his grandmother again. She opened her eyes and they were crimson red, and she motioned for him to come over to her. He said, quote, I cried until I thought my chest was going to come out. I physically could feel the pain. I knew the demon had come out of me and I had been forgiven. That hand that touched me was God's hand, and he made the demon flee. Yes, I would love to be a free man, but no, I don't deserve to be. I want to pay my price for what I did to those who loved me, end quote. Something I found in this letter that was of the utmost importance was, quote, the more questions you ask, the more the gears in my brain start turning, end quote. Meaning, he was fine with your asking questions. In fact, he encouraged it. Remember, he claimed to have forgotten things? Questions made his brain start working. Scribbles, if you were going to write a book, why did you leave so much out? The important parts. She seems to be so out of touch with the topics at hand. You might have included your flipping letters to him as well, so we understand all of the back and forth bullshit. Include all of his letters. Include all of the questions you ask him. It is so redundant to post letters that you've already covered in the book previously as a dramatic, embarrassing attempt of creative writing with tons of errors that was so out of touch with the topic at hand. It should have been one or the other. No need to do both. This chapter was very long and had the most information in it. Honestly, this one could have been broken up a bit. Between the letters that Chris wrote and the discovery, that is the entire book. What did Scribbles write? Nothing much from what I can tell. Chris talks more and more about his relationship with God. He comes across as if he's done a lot of soul searching, and there is no way to tell if it is sincere from a few letters. And he signs off every single letter as Chris, not Christopher. So I'm glad I'm almost done with my commitment to indicating the faults of this book. Only one more chapter and the epilogue. Don't worry, I will find something else to continually complain and make unkind remarks about. I've devoted a lot of time and effort into bitching, and I would even go as far as to say that I'm an expert. And that will be the end of this video. I will pick up with the final chapter 28 in the next one. Thank you for listening.
Who admitted to killing his wife and children has been moved to a prison in Wisconsin. He was serving multiple life sentences in Colorado, but was transferred just last week. Ashley Sears explains why he was moved here.
A spokesperson for the Colorado Department of Corrections says Chris Watts was moved from Colorado for safety reasons. Records show he is now here in Wisconsin.
My kids are my life. I want everybody to just come home.
He is a Colorado man who first made national headlines pleading for his family's safe return.
I just want them back. I just want them to come back.
But Chris Watts' pleas turned out false. He failed a polygraph test and later confessed to investigators. He killed his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters in their suburban Denver home back in August. Watts pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life behind bars.
Nothing less than a maximum sentence would be appropriate.
He was serving time in his home state, but has now been transferred hundreds of miles away because of safety concerns. Online records show Watts is in the Wisconsin Department of Corrections. A source tells us he is here at the Dodge Correctional Institution. However, the state DOC will not confirm that. We are told DCI is currently serving as an intake facility, and Watts will likely be moved somewhere else in Wisconsin soon. A confessed killer now in this maximum security prison, waiting for what's next. Watts has been sentenced to multiple life terms without the possibility of parole. It is unclear exactly how much time he'll spend here in Wisconsin. Reporting in Waupun, Ashley Sears, Fox 6 News.
Pregnant wife and 2 children in Colorado is in a Wisconsin prison. Chris Watts confessed to the murders and was sentenced to 5 life sentences. He's now in the Dodge Correctional Institution. Amanda St. Hilaire shows us how the community's reaction is tied to its prison history.
Welcome to Waupun, population 11,269, with a catch. You'll find roughly 30% of that population housed in one of 3 correctional institutions, including Dodge Correctional, the new home of convicted killer Chris Watts. For those who've studied Waupun's history,
this portion was the men's prison.
This is nothing new.
The inmates get up in the morning, go out to the farms and work, and we don't think that much about it, at least I don't.
Historian James Laird says in the mid-1800s, the people of Waupun traveled to Madison to ask lawmakers to put the state prison in their community.
I think it had something to do with money. During the Great Depression, the economy of the town stayed pretty good because so many of the people, a large percentage of the people, worked in the institutions.
Dodge Correctional Institution came later, converted from the Central State Hospital for the criminally insane in the 1970s.
So we're very, very used to inmates.
Making convicted killer Chris Watts' addition to Waupun's population business as usual.
I think it's like most things. A third of the people love it and the business that it has, a third of the people hate it, and a third of the people wouldn't make any difference to them.
Amanda St. Hilaire, Fox 6 News.
Right now, Christopher Watts, the Colorado man who murdered his pregnant wife and 2 daughters, is serving his sentence in Wisconsin.
He was sentenced to life in prison and was transferred to the Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun 2 weeks ago.
But how he got to one of our prisons is a process. NBC 15 Investigates' Hannah Anderson joins us with the answer.
Last week, after we reported Watts was transferred to a Wisconsin prison, a lot of you, the viewers, took to social media, posted your comments, asking us how the transfer process works and who's paying for it. Here's what I found out. For Christopher Watts to be in Wisconsin, the state traded an inmate for an inmate. According to the Wisconsin Department of Corrections, inmates may be transferred between states or the federal prison system under the Interstate Corrections Compact. Inmates considered for transfer include those whose presence pose a significant safety or security concern. Watts was transferred for his own safety. Examples include inmates who have committed infamous or heinous crimes, former law enforcement or correctional officers, high-ranking gang leaders, extremely dangerous or assaultive inmates, those who have been involved in a prison disturbance, or those who pose a significant escape risk. Right now, there are 28 inmates from other states in Wisconsin and 31 inmates from Wisconsin in other states under this compact. Now to cost. I asked both the Wisconsin and Colorado Department of Corrections about who ends up paying for the transfers. The Colorado DOC said the cost to physically transfer an inmate depends on where and how they're doing it, flying versus driving, meeting halfway, or all the way. Whatever the transfer cost is paid for out of the operations budget, which comes from the general fund, which is paid for by taxpayer dollars. In Watts' case, Wisconsin DOC says there's no cost to Colorado to have Watts in Wisconsin. However, if Watts has medical bills, Colorado will get charged. Colorado will also pay for any travel back for future court dates. Now, in Watts's case, both Wisconsin and Colorado could not confirm if he was driven or flown here. However, Colorado DOC spokesman told me the reason he can't disclose any inmate transfer process is for safety reasons. When transferring an inmate, it's one of the most dangerous times for the DOC because the inmate is outside the safety of the perimeter. The Colorado DOC also says when flying inmates, generally you wouldn't know they're on your flight. They're in a specific part of the plane. Reporting in the studio, Hannah Anderson, NBC 15 Investigates.
Governor.
Hey guys. Mommy. What, baby? Say hi, Cece. Hi. Look at this monster. This is what I deal with. Like, she's a monster. Don't you jump off the couch. Oh. I'm sitting right here, Mama. She's a monster. Like, she doesn't stop. Like, seriously, this kid hasn't napped today. No, don't stand on my legs, baby. My life. I just sat down to sit with these kids. Literally, this phone has not stopped since last night's call. Like, amazing. Oh my goodness. The kids, Cece's excited. Bella, are you excited? Are you excited? You want to jump like that? Life of the party?
I'm putting the phone right there.
No, I'm putting it right here.
Put it right here.
Okay, well, it's right here. Are you going to try to jump on me?
Yes.
Yes?
And put it right there. Phone.
Okay, phone's right there.
Okay.
The monster. She doesn't stop. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Amy. Hi, Christina. Oh my gosh. You guys have been keeping me so incredible. Hey, don't sit on your sister, please.
I want her.
Okay. Cece, stand up. Incredibly busy and truly, whoa, grateful for all of you guys. The girls, Bella has been helping me. Can you guys see this amazing craziness over here? But you guys have been keeping me incredibly busy. I am so excited. Hold on, I gotta catch C. Oh, jeez. Oh, watch out, Cece's trying to jump. Oh my, you guys. This is my life. Don't jump without nose out. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Oh my goodness. So you guys, with all the stuff that's coming out, incredible announcement last night. I'm still overwhelmed with excitement. The growth of our team just in the last 18 hours has been incredible. You guys are rock stars and absolutely positively amazing. Don't push your sister. Do not push your sister. Oh. So I wanted to come on here and show off these two monsters. Monsters. Am I thankful for my DFT every single day with these crazy kiddos. I think one Cece stinks. Watch out, Cece's gonna jump ahead of you. Oh! I'm a monkey over here. Like, seriously. Hey, no pushing. Oh, Brittany, come join us. When you move to Texas, you gotta... Hold on, Cece. Cece, like, trust falls all the time. Laura, I am so excited for you, honey. It's gonna be amazing. Wait, your sister's right there. Seriously, Brittany, you have to come over here and come stay the weekend with us. We'll have a blast. Bring the kids, and we'd have so much fun. But so excited. It's my birthday, and I couldn't have gotten the better birthday gift than the love from all my friends, the support from everyone. Today has been incredibly, probably the best birthday by far in a long time. Overwhelmed with all the messages on Facebook that I cannot keep up with right now. I promise you that I will get back to you guys and thank everyone personally for wishing me a happy birthday. It's been truly a great birthday. Here comes the monster. Truly an amazing birthday. I've spoke to so many leaders today, mentors, people that I call my friend, and my team has been truly a blessing. Sorry, I gotta make sure Cece doesn't, you don't need to throw up, sweetheart. But it's been truly a blessed day. Here's the doggy, Brittany. Cece, move your booty. The dog better watch out because Cece's gonna step on him or crush him, one of the two. Thank you, Kim. Bless you, baby. Oh, how awesome, Vicky. Love Crazy 82 and Jimbury, my favorite. Cece, say hi. Hi. Say, I'm an animal. Cece, say, I'm an animal. What do you have, Bella? Oh, you have the toilet paper. Good job. Well, I better go and get the toilet paper before my house is TP'd. But you guys are truly amazing. I love all of you. I love all my friends. I love all the support you guys give. All the birthday wishes today. Literally, I think there's over 400 birthday wishes. I'm truly, truly blessed to have all of you in my life. So much, and if I haven't responded to you, it's because I've been seriously, this kid has not slept all day, and she's about to try to jump onto the couch and get hurt. Cece? Truly, truly blessed. Thanks, Brittany. I love you too. I love all of you guys so much. Cece, sit down. Sit down. This is what I deal with, you guys. Literally heart attack in one kid all day. Seriously, sit down, Cece. Cece, sit down. Sit down. Oh, yes. I'm letting everyone see how crazy and wild you are. You need a diaper change. Where's Dieter? Where's Dee? Dee, where is he? Oh, Dieter, be careful. Be nice. Good job. Be nice. Cece, be nice to Dieter. Good job, Dieter. Be nice. Oh, he kisses you. You guys, if you are 2017, let us know. You are 2000. Oh, what picture is that? Oh, that's a good picture of us. Let us know that you are 2017. Show those hearts if you guys are ready to take on and conquer 2017, because I know I am. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Christina. She's an animal, like literally a beast. Yep, she's 16 months. That's it. 16 months. Wild animal. Cece? 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 And she destroys my house in 0.2 seconds, like literally. Cece. Hey. Hey. Say hi. Will, I am excited. Let's do this. Oh, look at her. Oh my God, this kid. She's gonna cause a heart attack in me before I'm 35. Literally. Seriously, dude? You're gonna hurt yourself. Is that mini? You got a big one?
Yes.
Say hi, Bella. Say hi. Alright, guys. Well, you guys all have an amazing rest of your night. I'm going to, hopefully Chris will be home shortly. We're going to go get something to eat and get back to working. I have a lot of calls still lined up for this evening. I'll probably be on calls until about 11:30 tonight, which is a blessing. Like, you guys have no idea what an amazing feeling that is. Some of you are like, oh, that's crazy. But I'm helping people. I am changing lives, and I'm helping my friends achieve their goals. And whatever your dream is, big or small, it doesn't matter. No one is the judge of what you want to accomplish in life. So don't let anyone tell you any different. You know, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, whatever you want to do as far as your dreams, write them down, you guys. Seriously. With Lavelle, without Lavelle, you don't have to be with us to have dreams. Write them down and execute them. Like, make it happen. Like, this is the year for all of you guys to put everything aside. You know, don't let anything bother you. You know, if you have, oh my God, the kid's climbing up the stairs. If you guys have, Cece, sit down. Baby, I can't carry both of you. Not with the phone too. Come on, Cece. You know, we all have our struggles in life, but you gotta put yourself first and make yourself better. Put that positive energy out and positive, you know, attitude, and everything comes your way. It will fall in your lap, and I promise you, everything will be rewarding. Hey, Kevin. So I'm out of breath because of these two. Now you guys know why I get 15,000 steps in one day. Cece's back up the stairs. See? The dog's about to go berserk. But I'll talk to you guys later. Love you guys. Have a great night. Talk to you soon.